All right, hello, good morning. It's Rob, and this is a little series I'm starting. Who knows whether I'll finish it or not? I'm calling it 33 Records, and I'm just going to pull 33 random records out of my vast music collection and just go through them quickly. If I have any personal anecdotes, where I bought it, why I bought it, why I like it, that kind of stuff, and maybe we'll turn you on to some stuff you haven't heard before. I'm certain I would, because my tastes have always been very specific when it comes to music. I march to the beat of my own drummer. And so there'll be a lot of stuff in here you probably never heard before, but that's why I'm doing it. Very quickly, first thing I ever bought was this. This is Electric Light Orchestra double 8-track Out of the Blue with, I don't know, 16, 17 songs on it. This is not the original cartridge. At some point, I gave all my 8 tracks. Matter of fact, I know a point, 1988. I gave all my 8 tracks to a guy who still had a player, and I was no longer using them. I've repurchased this, and it doesn't play anyway. If you're thinking of getting back into 8 tracks, which, so many people are these days, if you buy 10 8-track cartridges, maybe one of them will play. The rest just too far gone. Won't get into specifics, but some people try to repair them. Not me. So I do have a bunch of 8 tracks and a couple players. Every once in a while I'll throw something in, but for the most part they are all unplayable. The hardware wasn't bad. The hardware was okay, but the software, terrible. Anyway, I got into music around that time, around 1978. What does it say? 77 was Out of the Blue. Certainly was into that record. I had a little Panasonic suitcase radio. Again, this is not the one. Mine was black. Ew. My dog just did something gross. Mine was black, and I had a black one, but at some point during the years, I got a white one. I don't know. I used to plug in something called a pillow speaker. They still have those. It goes into what they used to call the earphone jack. You put a speaker under your pillow. You could lay there and hear music. The first song I really got into was Angie Baby by Helen Reddy. And I just realized this literally now as I was playing with the dog outside, that song is about a boy who fell into the radio. And that's kind of what happened to me. I got fascinated by pop radio, especially the station in Detroit we had called WDRQ, which was a top 40 station. Everything is so segmented now, but back then, top 40, if you think about it, you'd hear disco, you'd hear rock, you'd hear pop, you'd hear country. And they pretty much would play all that stuff. They'd play a lot of the really cool R&B soul stuff, like the Spinners and the Stylistics, but then you'd hear pop songs from Elton John and, rock songs of the day, whatever. So, disco, kung fu fighting. It was a real mix of stuff. You'd hear, stuff like Yellow on there. So that's how I got my start in music. I eventually discovered our high school radio station, became the music director, and some of these records, I think in this pile, or maybe in one of the future piles, certainly came from the radio station. I got to make up my own format, and that's why you heard the Divinyls in our adult contemporary programming in the morning. It didn't really make a lot of sense, and after I left, I may have walked off with a few of the records, but I guarantee you nobody would have ever played them again. Anyway, and then a couple of years later, they shut down the whole station, and that was that. It became a computer lab, and it became a memory. All right, let's get into this, and this is 33 records, just 33 random records from my collection. Over the years, I've had a pretty big record collection, but it's really been pared down because records are heavy, too damn heavy to move. I've got some records that have followed me from Detroit to California to Boston, cut from college, North Carolina, and now Georgia, and multiple locations in those states. So at some point, I just got tired of dragging records around. I literally, can count the number of times on my hand when I will sit down and play a record now. It's pretty sad, but all my listening is file-based. I don't even have a CD player in my truck anymore. I used to listen to a lot of CDs in my previous car, which had a player, but now I do not. So now it's just shuffling through random songs, etc. It's pretty rare that I'll sit down and listen to a whole record anymore, and that's kind of sad, but who knows? Maybe I'll get back into it someday. Anyway, be that as it may, let's get going. Number one here. Not in any particular order. This is Deface the Music by Utopia. Here is Utopia, outstanding in their field. I always like this joke. Anyway, this is a record of 12 or so mock Beatles songs. This is very similar to what the Ruddles were doing. Really, the quality is just as good. Maybe the Ruddles were a little better, but come on, it's Todd Rundgren, it's the band Utopia. So these are a lot of Beatle-esque songs like I Just Want to Touch You, Where Does the World Go to Hide, Everybody Else is Wrong. And they really mock a lot of the different eras of the Beatles, the early stuff, the later psychedelic stuff, all sorts of stuff in between. The problem with this record and the Ruddles also is that it was released in 1980. And of course, in 1980, John Lennon was killed. So nobody was really in the mood to laugh at the Beatles. It is an enjoyable record now, though. And if you like the Beatles, you certainly will get a kick out of this one, Deface the Music. All right, EPs. I used to spend a lot of money on EPs. Matter of fact, looks like it even will tell me. Oh, this was $1.99 from the Record Trader. Not bad. So I didn't buy this new. I bought this used in Los Angeles. And this is Lloyd Cole, My Bag. This is a great single from the CD Mainstream, which I believe was his third record. I remember playing this on a little portable CD player. Not this, but the CD version of the album at Berkeley, and some girl saying she really liked, this record, but this song sounds nothing like the rest of the record. This is like an up-tempo dance song, so she liked this. I think as the record went on, she didn't care as much about it, but that's My Bag. And Lloyd Cole always had really good B-sides, which have since been released digitally or whatever. This one doesn't particularly have good B-sides, but he had a lot of really great B-sides. Here's Pearl Harbor and the Explosions. This is a cutout. If you don't know what that is, they would sell these records at a discount, and they would literally cut part of the cover out. Sometimes they'd chop the corners. Sometimes they'd make a little slice like this with a saw. It's, pretty cruel if you think about it, Hey, or you want to buy a used car, I'm going to, kick the side of it and make a little dent in it so it's not perfect. Anyway, so they would sell these at a discount after they physically, altered them. And I know she had this song on here, You Got It, Release It, which was once in a while heard on, maybe alternative radio. I really don't know anything about Pearl Harbor and the Explosions. I'm not even familiar with that song. It's from the Skinny Tie era, obviously new wave, early 80s, and I don't know why it's in my collection or where it came from, but I certainly have it. This is a Romper Room record, which is displayed proudly downstairs. That's why I have the vinyl here. This is an extended dance record from Dire Straits. How about that? Another EP, extended dance play. And let's see what's on here. I am not entirely... Does it have a... there's a track listing. Oh, okay. So this is Twisting by the Pool. This was a non-LP single of theirs that got a good amount of play on rock radio. So that's why it's here. That's why it's here. Between records for them, I guess. 82, Twisting by the Pool, was a good one. This has 3 other songs that I don't know at all. Badges, posters, stickers, and t-shirts. Sounds like a precursor to Money for Nothing. I don't know. I'll have to listen to it at some point because I don't even know these. But there you go. Dire Straits. Here's a band that I love. They are called Prefab Sprout, an English band. Paddy McAloon is the songwriter from this band. And again, another flimsy EP. You would buy the EP because it came out first, and then the record came out, and you'd buy that again. These guys had really good B-sides, too. There are 2 good B-sides on this one called Vendetta and Nero the Zero that are now available on CD, etc. But good tunes there. Cars and Girls from their, fourth record. Um, they had a thing for Springsteen, and his song "I'm on Fire." Clearly, this cover is supposed to be Springsteen with a match that's on fire. I don't know what it is, but they kind of had this anti-Springsteen thing going for a while. Cars and Girls sings about Brucey's dreams and about the subject matter of Springsteen's songs. Some things are more important to sing about than cars and girls. That's the point of this song. A little pretentious, but great band. All right, here's an XTC bootleg. Does it say what I paid for it? Nah, some stickers on here. From the Black Sea Tour 1981. XTC, of course, famously stopped touring because Andy Partridge had panic attacks and didn't want to be on stage anymore. So live records are rare, and this is I think pretty decent sounding live bootleg record. You would occasionally find the rare record store that would have just a small section in the back of the store dedicated to bootlegs, or they'd just mix them in with the regular records and hope nobody would notice. Of course, bootlegs means that they're not on any actual label. The label is called The Record Company. There you go, from 1999. So good sounding bootleg. Paul Kelly and the Dots. Paul Kelly is I believe he's Australian. Maybe he's from New Zealand. I'm going to say he's an Australian singer-songwriter. Paul Kelly is an excellent singer-songwriter. This is one of his early bands. This is on Mushroom Records. It's a special festival export, it says. And this is some early stuff from him, again, from the Record Trader in Los Angeles. Good stuff. I think he developed more as a songwriter later on as he went solo, but good sounding stuff. Here's the companion piece to Deface the Music, by the way, an excellent title, the first record I had there. This is Faithful by Todd Rundgren. And Faithful by Todd Rundgren has cover versions that he tried to make as closely as possible mimic the actual recordings of the songs that he covered. I think one side here has original songs. Second side here, though, and this is an earlier record from '76. This was leading up to the Deface the Music. He does, in fact, cover Strawberry Fields here, and Hendrix, Dylan, the Beach Boys, Yardbirds. And like I said, they're not indistinguishable, of course, from the originals, but they're very close in style and sound to the originals. So kind of a cool record here. Interesting idea that half covers, half originals. And it's even faithful to the White Album cover because it's basically a White Album cover. All right, here's something you don't have in your collection. This is called Quartz. This was a German disco producer who hired some studio musicians and was cashing in on the disco craze. There's actually a picture on the back of a naked little girl, so I probably won't show you that. More acceptable in the 70s for sure than it is now, but Quartz features the entire side one of a song called Quartz, and then a song called Beyond the Clouds, which was a disco song popular enough that my mom bought it, and that's why I own Quartz. It's kind of a repetitive, droning disco record, but she has long forgotten, but she actually owned the 8-track of Quartz, and at some point I picked it up again on Marlin Records. But I like Quartz, and I've got some of it, on my computer as well. I'm Facebook friends with this guy, Dr. Robert. Am I? Is that true? Maybe I'm thinking of someone else, the guy from the Blow Monkeys. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. For some reason, I get these two bands mixed up sometimes. These are... Oh, what am I saying? This is the Blow Monkeys. I was thinking this was someone else. All right, but what band am I thinking of that I get mixed up with? The Wooden Tops. Anyway, these are the Blow Monkeys. In fact, I think this is their second record. Kind of stylish, soulful pop. Good stuff. This is a pretty strong record, actually. I like the one before it a little more, but here you are, the Blow Monkeys from the early 80s. Good stuff. Here's a record called Box of Frogs Don't know why I own it. I think some of the... Oh, yeah. Well, how about that? Like 2 guys from the... maybe 3 guys from the Yardbirds were in this band. Jim McCarty sounds familiar. I don't think he was in the Yardbirds, but Chris Drasia and Paul Samuel Smith from the Yardbirds are in this band. I'm not sure why I own this and have no memory of what it sounds like. Chances are at this point I'll never put it on again, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. All right, Nick Gilder. I like Nick Gilder. This is one with a disturbing cover. This has Rated X on it. All right, and Rated X was a song covered by Pat Benatar on her first record. At some point, I think I had a little fascination with Nick Gilder and bought 3 or 4 of his records. This is one of them called You Know Who You Are. All right. Not much else to say about that. These guys I love. They're called Focus. They were cursed, and this is the record that did it because they had a, what, most people consider a novelty song called Hocus Pocus. You've probably heard it. Heavy rock guitars and organ and yodeling. And this is always the kiss of death for any band, is to be known by a novelty song. I'm thinking of Fountains of Wayne. That's one band that comes to mind, Stacy's Mom. And once they had that, they never kind of got back on the pop charts again. Once you're known for a novelty song, it is very difficult to overcome that, even though most of your songs are more serious or whatever. Focus is a Dutch prog rock band. They are an excellent band. They never would have had any pop hits anyway, so they were probably lucky to get Hocus Pocus, which is on here, number 1. And then, of course, typical prog rock style. All of side 2 is one song called Eruption. I like some of their later stuff better. Focus 3, I think, is after this. Maybe it's before it. I don't know. But that's what I'm kind of into more. But... Focus, Moving Waves. This comes from the influence of my friend John Myers, whose brother I know owned this record. And that was some of the earliest stuff I listened to. He had a nice stereo with those big old headphones in his living room, and we used to sit there and just put headphones on and check out different records that he owned, and Focus, Moving Waves was certainly one of them. There's a record called Zeitgeist. I don't know why I have this. I think at some point I heard a song and thought I should own this. This is a record I know I played at my college radio station. This is a band that was called the Reavers, either after or before. I think it must have been after, because there was a band called Zeitgeist. This maybe was their first release. And again, I think it's a band probably that I would be into, but I just have never stuck it on there for any length of time. Maybe if I heard it, I would be familiar with it. We go to more Prefab Sprout here. And boy, it's going to take a long time to get through 33 records. I'm just realizing this is a long-ass video already. All right, so I thought the title was catchy, but we'll try to speed it up a little. This is Prefab Sprout's first EP. This is 4 songs that were before the album Don't Sing. They are all very good. They kind of got really smooth and flashy as they went on. Their production really was very involved. Thomas Dolby did a couple of their records, but back then they were a little more scrappy or whatever, but still quirky pop songs. Again, 4 songs that didn't show up on anything else, and good stuff. All right. Here's the Boston band Gangrene. The PMRC sucks. If you know what that is, it's the Parents Music Resource Council, headed by Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife. And their whole point was to put stickers on albums that had bad words on them. They're also making fun of the Boston band Till Tuesday. And in fact, they have a cover of Voices Carry on this record here, a little kind of heavier, more hardcore cover, as they were a hardcore band, although it's still pretty poppy, of Voices Carry. And then, for fun, on side B, there's a song called Voices Scary, which is scary moaning and stuff to that song. I really do enjoy that they have, like, a ball of rope on this guy's head that's supposed to look like the guy in Till Tuesday, and yeah, good stuff. So... not something I put on very often, but it was entertaining in its day. Les Dudek. No idea why I own this and who he is. Maybe someday I'll find out. All right, Cat Stevens again. I don't remember buying this. At some point it ended up in my collection. Teaser and the Fire Cat. Cat Stevens is great. Not really much to say about him. This is the Human League, Love and Dancing. This is a very cool little EP. These are dance versions, extended versions of some of their stuff from Dare and non-LP singles like Hard Times. Yeah, it has a bunch of stuff on here. I think all the songs kind of flow together like a disco type, disco type theme LP, but great stuff, early stuff. Boy, Human League had like 40 people in it, didn't it? Good stuff. Human League I remember discovering because my friend Julie played a cassette, I believe, in her 67 Barracuda, and we were driving around, and this is still when I was into heavy rock and roll stuff, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin. I said, where are all the guitars from this band? But at some point, I kind of came around to getting into the Human League. So Human League Unlimited Orchestra, kind of instrumental disco versions of their earlier stuff. Very cool. I do kind of hate to rush through this stuff because, boy, a lot of these have personal meaning to me. My friend Carol bought me this record, of course, Joe Jackson, Night and Day. Excellent stuff. I think she handed it to me at Coney Island one day at lunch. I can think of a couple of records I believe that happened with. This has an excellent picture on the inside and a good argument for why you want vinyl, because this is a really great picture of all the kind of instruments they were using at the time in the studio, precision bass and keyboards, and look at that, Tolex covered Fender amps, blonde, black, etc. So if you're a musician, there's a lot of cool stuff to look at in this picture for sure. And of course, great record, lots of singles, a couple singles on this record that really did well. The Bluebells are a Scottish band, I believe, and kind of retro poppy sounding stuff. They had some really good songs. Matter of fact, a couple of my songs that I might even consider my favorites are by the Bluebells. Not on this thing. This, again, is a little EP, and if you didn't know, they really got you because they got you to buy these records that had 4 or 5 songs, and then you ended up buying them all again when the LP came out or whatever, or they put a couple different B-sides on something like this. You're like, well, I gotta buy this too because it's got different songs on it. It's kind of a cool collection from XTC. This is one of the first records I ever bought in college, maybe the first 2 or 3 records I ever bought in college, and this is just singles and B-sides from this era of XTC. It's called Waxworks singles, and then this is called Beeswax, and these are the B-sides. Very cute. And again, I mean, you kind of forget what the singles are and what the B-sides are because XTC is so good. They're all good at some point. It looks like at some point this pile of records is going to be right up here. So, all right. Here is the soundtrack to Something Wild. That's a fun movie. And you'll notice that the record is upside down and sideways, and it's hard to really figure out which way to go. But there are some good songs on this record for sure. I think a cover of the Buzzcocks' Ever Fallen in Love by Fine Young Cannibals. Jerry Harrison from Talking Heads is on here. Some reggae stuff. Yeah, this is actually a pretty decent collection here. I don't have a lot of soundtracks, but this is one of them. Pete Wingfield has this great song called 18 with a Bullet. I don't know much about him, but I know he's done other stuff in music. 18 with a Bullet is kind of a mock doo-wop song. It was released, who knows when, in the later 70s, I am sure, and it's about the record industry. Not really sure. I'm not going to dig around too long, but 18 with a Bullet. It's a good song. All right, the O'Neill Twins. I got this recently, and I don't remember where I heard it, but they are a gospel group, and they have this great song called It's Gonna Rain Again. It's like organ and cool stuff. Come on, look at the O'Neill Twins. You gotta love them. King Bees were a popular kind of retro new wavy group around the same time that Stray Cats came around. They're kind of retro roots rock. They have a song called My Mistake, and this is a good little record. Songs kind of sound similar after a while, but good sounding stuff. What is this? Harry Chapin. I don't know why this is here. I really don't. Not making excuses. I just don't know why or how it got here. At some point it ended up in my collection. This is one I am particularly proud of. Travolta Fever. And if you'll notice, yeah, look at that. What's going on there? Full-sized, poster-sized display of good old John Travolta. This is a compilation of 2 records, I think, that Travolta released that were put into a deluxe 2-record set to try to sell us even more John Travolta. A lot of covers of songs on here. Let Her In, I think, was a big single that he had, but I'm a sucker for 70s goofy stuff, and, he's not bad. He's a decent singer, and some of the arrangements are pretty good. Some of them, of course, super cheesy, but I like a few songs on here. What Would They Say is on here. Oh, he's upside down. And What Would They Say, of course, is from The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. I believe he sings on that record. Yellow Magic Orchestra. They are kind of a techno-Japanese band that sound a lot like Kraftwerk. It's on yellow vinyl. You can't beat it for $2.99, although it says $9.50 on here too. So not sure what I paid. Ear Candy record store in Los Angeles as well. They have something on this one called Computer Game and Firecracker. I'm pretty sure that my uncle belonged to the Columbia Record Club. He used to have a quadraphonic setup in his bedroom, which he still was living in when I used to visit my grandparents. And I'm pretty sure Yellow Magic Orchestra was a record that he had. He ended up with a lot of prog stuff. I don't think that he liked it. I think, the record company would just send you one record every month, and I have a feeling that he just let them do that, and that's what became his collection. I'm pretty sure Yellow Magic was part of that collection. Tangerine Dream was. At any point, I heard this along the way and wanted to pick it up. It's pretty good stuff. Here is Val Dunican, Rocking Gently, and on the cover he's sitting in a rocking chair, I think, up there. There's some kind of chair in the picture. I don't know why I found this funny. I bought this recently, and Val Dunican is famous for something, but I don't remember what. Maybe he plays the harmonica or something. He's like an easy listening guy. I don't know. I'll have to check that out and do some more research. Not really sure. All right, getting down to the end of it. This is a band called Crawler. No idea. Not sure why it's there. It's got a snake on it. Here is Thomas Dolby's, again, 5-song EP to capitalize on She Blinded Me with Science, which originally was not on his initial release. The Golden Age of Wireless did not include She Blinded Me with Science. Believe it or not, that song came out a little later, and at some point they had to reissue, and there's, 7 or 8 different versions of that record, but they had to add She Blinded Me with Science on there. They also released it in this format. This also has One of Our Submarines, which got some airplay, and a few other songs from his first record there. Not sure if this is a longer version. It may be. Anyway, again, they would get you with these EPs, and you'd be like, well, I just got to buy it because I love Thomas Dolby. Last but certainly not least, this is one of my favorite records ever. This is the band China Crisis. If you don't know them, they are kind of a synth pop version of Steely Dan. Matter of fact, even Walter Becker produced them. They're not jazzy like Steely Dan, but they have kind of intricate arrangements, great melodies, kind of mellow stuff that still has a little bit of a rhythm to it. Great bass parts on this record. I'm not sure who plays them, but there's some really melodic bass stuff as you used to get in the early 80s. Long gone, I'm sad to say, but back then bass would really drive a lot of these songs. These included, even though these are synth pop songs. And this record here, Right there is a scratch. You see it? And that scratch came because I had it at our radio station in high school. That's how long I've had this record, 40 years. And it got stuck. We had a little stand that used to hold the microphone. It was like a gooseneck with springs, like a little metal thing that would come up and over. And at some point, this got stuck in that. And that's what made that scratch. How about that? Sometimes I have things hiding in these records. Nothing in this one. But again, this is China Crisis's first record called Difficult Shapes, Passive Rhythms. Every song is good on this record. There is no day that I don't want to listen to this record. It's fabulous. If you don't know them, they have a few records. They are all very good. Matter of fact, they released one recently and it was good. So there you go. All right, we're getting to be about 33 minutes into my 33 record segment here. I'm not sure who's going to stick with this, but hey, whatever. I'll try anything on this channel. So thank you for tuning in. At some point, maybe I'll do 33 more records, or maybe if nobody watches this, I'll come up with some other idea. I can't really say at this point, but hey, keep enjoying music, keep listening to the radio, and keep watching my channel. You never know what's going to come up on this thing. So I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. All right. Later on.